So, what's going on, folks? Elijah here. Getting my commute on to work here today. Friday morning, 17th. As you can see, it's kind of a usual gloomy morning here. Usually on the west side, it can be a little gloomy because it's pretty close to the beach for the most part. As you can see, traffic's pretty light because of the COVID crisis and the massive surge we have here in California and the other most populous states, unfortunately. Luckily here, it's pretty much a pro-mask state, so hopefully we can get a handle on it in the next couple weeks. Things are happening in other states that are just absolutely terrifying. I got family in every state. So today I'm going to talk about something that I think all motorcyclists talk about, especially when we're hanging out together, is crashing. And when you crash, what you can expect. So one of the things that you can expect when you crash is that you're going to break some bones. That's just all there is to it. It's a good chance you're going to break some bones. I believe motorcycles are 27 times more likely to get in accidents and or even a fatal. I'm not sure about the fatality rate, but I believe it is similar. And that is just the reality of riding a motorcycle. And I think it's kind of not talked about enough by the general community, though. If you go take the classes, the instructors do talk about the statistics and the reality of motorcycle riding. And one of the other realities is that a lot of guys are intoxicated when they crash, which is kind of one of those statistics that you're just like, man, you really should not drink when you ride a motorcycle, at all, honestly. But you can expect to break bones, and if you don't wear full gear, you're definitely going to get road rash. And I know this from experience. I did have a good motorcycle wreck, and I was only going 35 miles an hour. Which was the speed limit, but it was nighttime, and unfortunately I was inexperienced, of course, at the time in motorcycle riding, and another gentleman on another motorcycle pulled out of a driveway without looking through his turn first, making a left, and so he crossed my path. Now, unfortunately, because I was inexperienced, I grabbed the front brake, which, if you've taken a class, they always tell you don't grab the front brake, squeeze it. But I didn't do that. Grabbed the front brake, and of course, if you grab the front brake on a motorcycle at 35 miles an hour, you're going to have a high side in which you go over the bars, most likely. And that's what I did. Went over the motorcycle handlebars. My right hand which was the one that grabbed the brake, was still hanging onto the bars because I was still trying to steer the bike. Because when I was going over, what I was worried about most was that my bike was going to hit the gentleman on the Harley dead on, and so I was trying to avoid that from happening, and of course, try to stop myself from flying in the air, which is impossible. Gravity is going to take care of that. And luckily, my bike did not hit him head on, because it did flip all the way over, and it only hit his Harley mirror, which I'm sure was an expensive mirror to get repaired, and luckily he was not injured. But after I went over the bars, I went face first, and I did slide a little bit right into the side case of his Harley, and I went head first, literally eyeball first, into the shifter of the Harley. Luckily, my HJC helmet, I'm pretty sure, saved my life. because I took a direct hit right to the kisser. And I probably would have been killed or horribly disfigured otherwise. So that's why, I was actually at the time wondering if I really needed to wear full gear when I ride at the time. And, the universe answered me, yes, you do. So I had on a Tourmaster jacket, the mesh one, not the mesh, but the synthetic fiber ones. And I guess if you're wondering if that will protect you on a bike, it will. I also had, because I got no road rash on my chest or any parts of my body, except on my knee. On my knee, my left knee, which hit, and I was in, leather motorcycle pants. So I guess if you're wondering how much leather motorcycle pants will protect you, or leather in general, the road rash, the heat from the asphalt, when my knee grabbed the ground, which also probably helped save me, is the fact that the leather motorcycle pants kind of created a lot of drag on the ground, and slowed me down as I slid into the side case of the Harley head first. Otherwise, I probably would have broke my neck. And the road rash did come through the leather motorcycle pants. I also broke my right arm, just a hairline fracture. I didn't have a compound fracture, thankfully. So generally, you'll have to get surgery. And so I had a nice road rash burn on my knee. It took a nice chunk of meat out through the leather motorcycle pants. And I was pretty busted up. Luckily, a couple guys who were behind me in traffic got out. I don't know who they are, but thank you, guys. They picked me up under my shoulders and hauled me off to the side. And you can expect that you're going to get an adrenaline rush. I think we all seen the guy who went over the cliff in California here and had a broken back and all kind of broken bones and was able to climb up the side of the mountain. I'm not a medical expert or EMT or anything, so I would implore you to talk to one or do your own research, but when you get into a rough accident like that, generally you're going to get an adrenaline rush, which may allow you to still function somewhat. So I was able to actually, I did the wrong thing. If you get in a motorcycle accident, you should probably call an ambulance because you're probably going to be seriously injured. And I was seriously injured since I had broken bones. But of course, us motorcyclists were worried about the bike. So, exchanged information with the fellow motorcyclists and then walked my bike home, because you can expect that your bike may not be rideable if you crash it. And I think I blew the start, but I think I blew the front brake master cylinder was toast, and it was leaking brake fluid, so I didn't want to take any chances it was leaking oil or something like that. So walked my bike home with a broken arm and a pretty banged up knee. Luckily I have cartilage knees, so I didn't break my kneecaps. They can't break, I guess. And proceeded to take off my motorcycle gear because I figured I had about, a good 30 minutes before I might go into shock. Not that I'm like some medical expert, just, that's what they kind of teach in the Boy Scouts, you get a broken bone or something, you can go into shock, and you can die from going into shock. And that's basically what happened to me. When the adrenaline finally wore off, I started going into shock, and things started getting dark. And I was actually just going to go outside and try to lay outside so at least somebody would find me, hopefully, and call an ambulance or call my family to come get my body. And I could not even call 911. My motor skills were so far gone. So I guess that's kind of something you should think about here, is that you may not be able to call 911. That's the Rona line right there, guys. They all might have the vid. Take care of yourselves. You'll be in that line too. And so, you may not be able to call for help if you crash your motorcycle or if you go into shock. Luckily, I was able to have my roommate finally came home, and I was able to hey man, just talk to me, keep me going. Call my brother, of course, instead of 911, which that's what you should do, is call 911 and get in the ambulance and go to the hospital because you're going to be seriously hurt, most likely if you get in a motorcycle wreck. But I didn't do that, so luckily I was able to get through the shock, and of course then the pain hits, and I could barely even walk, and my arm was just absolutely writhing pain because it was broken. So luckily I had my brother take me to the Culver City emergency room, and waited there for you could expect it to be a all-night ordeal. We were there till 5 in the morning, and that's what the deal was. They got me. Luckily, I have health insurance, so that's another thing that nobody tells you, that you want to make sure you got your life insurance paid up, and you want to make sure you got health insurance if you're going to ride a motorcycle, because there's a good chance that you're going to need that health insurance, because those injuries are expensive. I think the broken arm alone was like a $7,000 broken arm, just to get have them put a cast on there. So gave me a whole bunch of meds. They gave me 3 types of meds, Vicodins, muscle relaxers, and ibuprofens, the big ones. And they sent me on my way, put my leg in a boot. So I had a broken arm that I couldn't use on my right arm, which is my writing arm, and I also had a busted up knee that they thought could have been broken, but luckily it wasn't. And that's how I was. One bad leg, one bad arm. I think a 10-minute walk took me 30. And I was laid up for 7 days straight. Literally 7 days, I really did not move except to use the restroom, which, let me tell you, using the restroom with a busted leg and a busted arm is not exactly as easy as you may think it would be. Everything is a challenge. Getting dressed, going to get groceries, and just doing just simple stuff in life. It really gave me an appreciation for the people who have mobility issues in our society, whether it's in a wheelchair or they can't walk very fast, they got arthritis. And it definitely made me much more sympathetic, because there's just a lot of stuff that just is really, pretty much everything that you do normally is harder to do than it was before. And that's just the reality. You're going to have a lot harder time doing things that you kind of take for granted, whether it's getting dressed, or whatever. You're going to have a lot harder time doing those things. So crashing sucks, but it also, I think, it's valuable because it does teach you some. Failure is a teacher, and hopefully you don't get killed, and you're able to learn a lesson from failure. And it definitely makes you, I think, more conscientious about riding. It definitely made me, a lot more cautious, but not scared, because I kind of know what to expect. But it definitely made me want to avoid crashing again. And when you crash, you really should sit down, if you survive, and kind of write down all the reasons that led up to your crash. Which, for me, I know if you're a motorcycle rider, if you want to blame the other person, you can, but you probably shouldn't be riding. But for me, there were 3 things that I had under my control, that if I had changed any one of those things, I would have not gotten in the accident in the first place. Whereas, the guy who pulled out in front of me, that's the only mistake that he made. He just made one mistake, and of course, I made 3 mistakes. So that's something to kind of expect. And I think I was laid up for a good 6 months, guys. So I couldn't travel. I couldn't really do anything for a whole 6 months. Luckily I was able to do light duty at work, because I have a job that I can do light duty at. But if I was like a UPS driver, I'd probably been out of work for 6 months. So, you know, so I implore you guys, you know, I'm not a riding coach, but I do feel like I do have enough experience to tell people to wear full gear if you're going to ride. I know I don't always wear full gear. I do have my lighter, summer gear that I wear often, but you should wear an armor jacket, and I would definitely recommend leather motorcycle pants, just because it helps you hang onto the bike better. Like gloves, you should get at least, I just had regular $20 gloves. They weren't leather. They will protect your hands. Like I said, I didn't have any road rash except on my knee through my leather motorcycle pants. And of course, I did invest in some knee pads, CE rated knee pads, because obviously, next time I'll probably land on my ass. So I don't expect the crash to be the same next time. But hopefully, I'll be able to avoid any serious accidents going forward. So that's all for today, guys. Please be safe out there. Watch out for the vid. A lot of you guys still don't believe in it, but wear your masks, wear your motorcycle gear. Please invest in it. I know it's expensive, but it is worth the money you pay for it. Riding safely and going home to your family, and completing your other goals that you got in life are important. And if you want to be able to ride, you got to be able to survive your going down intact. So that's all today, guys. Ride safe. Please take care of each other. Look out for other people. Divisive times, but we need to look out for each other. And go forward in peace. Ride safe, guys. Elijah out.